Now, when I was stationed in Germany during the 70s, it was almost everybody's dream to go back to the United States. They would count the days until they would leave, and when it was under 100 days, they would become known as a two-digit midget. They would make jokes about going back to the land of round doorknobs, because in Germany, all the doorknobs or door handles were regular handles. They weren't doorknobs. They would view the United States as that kind of land of wonder that one would never want to leave again. Well, if you're joining us in going through this 6-month reading plan through the book of Psalms, today's reading is Psalm 105, verses 31 through 45, and I encourage you to read that section. Well, Psalm 105, verses 43 through 45 says this: "And he brought forth his people with joy, his chosen one with a joyful shout. He gave them also the lands of the nations, that they might possess the fruit of the people's labor, so that they might keep his statutes and observe his laws. Praise the Lord." So, what are you going to do when this confinement ends and you're free to go anywhere that you want to go? What are you going to do? Are you going to go to a favorite restaurant? Possibly you're going to go to a park. Will you just seek around to be other people and to be happy to go back to your office instead of working from home? When God led the Israelites out of Egypt, they were going back to a place that he had promised Abraham. None of the people who exited Egypt under Moses' leadership had ever been outside of Egypt except Moses. They were going home, but they didn't know what to expect. They sat out under Moses' leadership without a clue of what the land of milk and honey was actually like. Now, our world has changed, and just like after the flu of 1918, we will never exactly be the same. In time, we will forget, and our children will wonder in amazement what we went through, just like we talk to our parents or grandparents about what they went through the Great Depression. Our grandchildren will speak to us about what it was like to be in the great coronavirus or corona pandemic of 2020. Well, what do we tell them? We'll tell them of the handicaps possibly, or the hardships. Will we tell them how terrible it was to be stuck inside for 6 weeks without being able to go to a store or to freely move around? Or we would tell them what God has done with our lives through that experience. Now is a time for us to make a difference. We don't have to think about how bad it is. We have to think about what God would have us to do. How can we learn to keep his statutes and observe his laws? Are we going to keep our faith hidden in our back pocket, or are we going to share it with those around us so that they might also come to a new relationship with God through Christ? And if you would like a PDF copy of this entire reading plan, please send an email to phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.